you think about when you start a relationship, and we limit relationship to a romantic relationship, and the name romantic says a lot of it. So it's ideals, it's how we would like to feel, and when we go into it unconsciously, we already thinking about what I'm gonna gain, or what this other person will fulfill me, or what is the role of this person to bring me to a better stage. So we unconsciously we go into a human relationship with an expectation of getting something, or going to being in a state better than we are right now.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Going Out, Looking In, the podcast about the big questions of life, personal growth, and spirituality. My name is Maxi, I'm your host, and I have a super cool, exciting, deep episode for you today about love, about relationships, about communication in relationships, commitment, intimacy, trust, jealousy. Oh my God, this episode is full of valuable, my favorite word, content for you guys. Wow, so much value in this. I'm speaking with Katja and Gabriel from Germany and from Brazil. The two have been together for more than 14 years and are a prime example of a beautiful, strong, healthy couple who are emanating so much love and loving energy and unity, while at the same time remaining incredibly conscious of their individuality within a relationship. They walk the talk, they know what they're talking about, they embody that, they live what they are talking about, and that's why I wanted to talk to them. The way we got connected, oh my God, that's a whole different story, and it's again perfect synchronicity how that happened. For all of you who follow the podcast, you will have seen the episode I did with Sophie. If you haven't yet watched and listened to it, do it. And when I was setting up the podcast with Sophie a couple of weeks ago, we just randomly started talking about people we know, places we went to and stuff, just chit chat. And then she brought up a place in Brazil where she went to, an island, and I was like, oh, okay, I also know somebody on an island in Brazil. And she's like, ah, interesting. And then I said, and that person also has accommodation directly at the beach, and he's a musician. And then Sophie went okay, that's interesting. I know also a musician with accommodation at the beach. And then I was going, yeah, I mean, you can looking up on Instagram. It's Manuel Tosto. He's an amazing musician. And she's like, wait, are you kidding me? And so we were basically talking about the same person. And Gabriel is the brother of Manuel, and he's together with Katja. And so Sophie knows them from years ago. And she was like, okay, you have to talk to them. And so I did. I just follow the flow of life, and that brought us here. And now I'm speaking to you about them. So, like I said, for all of you guys who are in a relationship, who just got out of a relationship, who want to be in a relationship, and are interested in the topic of love, relationships in general, intimacy, all of those good things, this episode is really going to be for you. We talked about all of those topics in great detail. I shared a lot of where I'm at in my life currently, with all of that is going on with my relationship or ending relationship and the new chapter in my life. So it's a very personal episode as well, I have to say. But I want to put myself out there because I think, or I feel that it gives space and room for projection, and you can hopefully also learn from the mistakes maybe also I make in my reflections on it, and just make it your own and see what sticks for you. That would be great, right? And so it's a very special episode, really. We really connected and vibed, and I was really chilled and relaxed and felt super comfortable with those two, and they shared a lot about where they at. And also, you know, it's not all perfect, and I don't know, like just like a fairy tale, you know, it's work also, but it's a self-discovery journey, and this is what we really emphasized on this episode, and that I also want to emphasize even in this intro. Just again, it's just, we have to take responsibility for ourselves, no matter in which kind of relationship or co-creation we are in. Family, friends, romantic partners, work. We can only work on ourselves and influence how we show up in the world. It's never about the other person. And so I'm really looking forward for you guys to hear this. As always, especially with this one, if you have someone, you know, that comes up while we are talking and you feel like they could also benefit from it, share the podcast. Would be awesome. Really, really helps me and the reach of the podcast. It's growing. It's nice. More and more people get attracted to it. It's awesome. I'm all glad you are here. So if you share it, that would mean the world to me, as well as if you give it a rating, you know, the 5 stars and the likes on YouTube and the subscription, and you know it. So that all really helps. Anyway, all that being said, I wish you so much fun and beautiful insights from this episode with Katja and Gabriel. First of all, thank you for doing this. Thanks for coming on. That's very nice. I love to, obviously speak to 2 people now. That's like, it's a novelty for me also. Oh. And yeah, I'm very excited for this topic because honestly, it's like very close to where I'm at in my life currently. So to give some context, you know, that I was in a beautiful, loving, romantic relationship for 7 years. Wow. Right up until 8 weeks ago. So my partner and I parted ways. This is still our place, but we are getting rid of it as we speak. In less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be moving out. Yeah. And so my whole life is rearranging. You know, yes. I'm gonna be relocating. I'm gonna find new work. Basically, everything's changing. I had no relationship anymore, so I don't know. I'm just like really on the brink of like getting initiated. Hopefully, as a man, I'm working my ass off to do so. You know, from boy to man. It's time now to grow up. No more Peter Pan, and so I learned a lot, and I'm learning very much right now about myself, about the relationship I was in, about the relationship that I'm hopefully going to be in the future, or not hopefully, surely. And I think at least I don't know of any people that I would rather talk to than you guys about it. So,
thank you.
So yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Wow, what an exciting time to be in, and also what an intense time to be in, because we were just talking about it yesterday, that when one thing changes, like for example, relationship breaks up, like every other part of your life is also transforming, because you can't transform a big thing and then nothing else is changing. Like everything will start to change, and this can be very intense to us. Like, so congratulations that you are
That's
in
why I
that.
said congratulations, and it sounds, it might sound for the people that listen to it like, oh man, how can you congratulate someone to break down a relationship and go apart after 7 years? So yeah, exactly because of that, because it's I believe that it's something that you need right now. Otherwise would not be happening, and we need to change. Otherwise our brains, they got used to the daily or something that it's known, and when it's known, you're not you have the feeling that you're doing the things on the automatic, you know, so automatically doing it, like a program. And it becomes a program if you think about when you drive a car, you don't even think if I'm putting and changing the directions, if I'm putting
The blinkers.
blinkers, and so you do already automatically. You look at the mirror, so you're all full integrated
Autopilot.
in this autopilot mode. Is because your brain already decoded how and what to do. So, and that's why also life goes very fast if you are in a routine, let's say. So yes, every time there is a big change, I always say to the people, congratulations, it doesn't matter what it is, because it means your brain will need to figure out everything that it's unknown, and you will feel alive, because it's like the first time that you're driving a car, or the first time that you walk into your first job, that you're looking at all the stores and everything that is around your office, and after a while you don't even know if somebody walked through you or if a new business opened up. So yes, so really nice, exciting times for you. Congratulations on that.
I very much resonate with what you were just saying. Yes, life never wanted me to play it small and easy and simple, and never. I mean, simple maybe, yes, but not easy. So it was not like whenever I feel like I'm getting too comfortable, life is forcing me to get out of my comfort zone once again. So I'm there right now, and I don't know, in my level of maturity, I arrived at a place where I can say, I can already see the silver lining. I can see, okay, I'm learning, I'm growing. It's goddamn painful right now as well at some points, you know. There's just a void. There's just a very big space left by what my partner was filling, you know. It was just a space. And I just try my utmost best to leave it like that, not fill it immediately, but just like, this is how it is right now, and I'm supposed to feel like that. And what you were saying about feeling alive, I'm feeling very alive. Let me tell you that. I'm alive. Like it's like that. The roller coaster is like full on. I'm like, one day I'm gonna be like, whoo, you know, like the world is mine. The world is my oyster. Let's get it. You know, I'm motivated. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. I'm healthy. I want to do stuff, you know. I want to push the podcast. I want to find new work. I'm going to be living in beautiful places. I'm going to do amazing things. and then I wake up at some points. I'm like, dude, everything's falling apart.
Why did you choose that?
Can it just like not be like one time fucking just like relaxed? I don't know. Like here this is my flat, you know, we're giving up all of this, you know, all of the comfort, and it's just gone, stripped away, getting rid of all the furniture again after so many movings, and oh God, so that's alive within me.
We know very well. And you're like, why am I choosing that? Because in the end, we are choosing that, right? Like, we're not the victims of that. We are choosing it. And what really helps me is like to allow also this grief. It's okay to be grieving it for a moment also. And then also to remind yourself that nobody can take away that last 7 years. Like, those are yours, you know, like this is not, it's not diminishing now because it ended. No, it is what it is, and it will always be cherished in your heart and in the memories, and you know, so this already happened and it's yours, and now you're moving on, so you're not losing anything. You have exactly the same that you always had, and now you're creating a space to invite new things, people, places, whatever will come into it, but now with another level of consciousness and with another level of how you said, knowing yourself, right? And now you can attract different places and people and vibrations, and because you're more conscious about it, because you know yourself better. Wow, thank you, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what all what relationship is about. It's knowing yourself. So, and that's so interesting, because we normally make a mistake, because if you think about when you start a relationship, and we normally we limit relationship to a romantic relationship, and the name romantic says a lot of it. No? So it's ideals, it's how we would like to feel, and when we go into it unconsciously, we already thinking about what I'm gonna gain, or what this other person will fulfill me, or what is the role of this person to bring me to a better stage. So we unconsciously we go into a human relationship with an expectation of getting something, or going to being in a state better than we are right now. And this is basically because we are projecting outside things that we would like to have, and we are feeling that is missing inside. What I want to say with that is everything is a relationship. So not only a romantic, so everything. It's the way that you relate to your life, to your experience. So a romantic relationship is an experience in this earth, like a work, a job, or your neighbor, or someone that cuts you in the traffic, or someone that is in supermarket and it's not friendly. So everything it's how I relate to, right? So often in a romantic relationship, we forget that it's about putting a mirror in front of me to get to know myself better. And that's why there is so much frustration, there is so much deception, there is so much abusive relationship going on. And that's why so much expectation in finding the right person. Right?
Yeah, because we give up responsibility from ourselves onto the other person.
Yes.
And we try to fill what we don't have with the other person.
Yeah.
And
the other person has this loan, or this
burden,
burden.
this weight.
That
and I get so angry about that person that
the
you
person
don't
even
act
know
like I
that.
want. Yeah, yes.
The person don't even know, okay, how should I make you happy, you know? And you have like a list, but it's a hidden list. So,
oh man.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and okay, so we are right in. I would also love to get some context of like, and I'll be talking about it in the intro as well, and I will have talked about it in the intro as well. But we can. I wanna quickly stay here before we get some more context on how your relationship unfolded in the way. And now that you guys are sitting here, talking as reflected and beautiful as you do, I mean, it has to come from somewhere. So I'm curious to explore that with you. Before we do that, I just want to say that, and as you know, this is my podcast, so I want to just like go all in, also with what's going on with me, and I would love to get your opinion on it, because the thing is, I was in a relationship where this was the case. We were both in this level of consciousness where we were very much able to see it that way. we were having, I think, I know a good communication in place, and we were able to communicate also subconsciously hidden expectations quite well. Like whenever something was coming up, we were quite immediate in how we were communicating them, and therefore we were able to resolve conflict even before it arose, you know, and that's very powerful, I think. And still, what you said in the beginning about the autopilot, the relationship starts building a certain dynamic between the masculine and the feminine, and no matter how conscious you are, that's my experience as so far, and that's what I wanted to ask you. No matter how conscious I was of that, I think we were not able to resolve that and completely rearrange that dynamic, because I was too much in my feminine, my partner was too much in her masculine, and so there was a disbalance. And I think the breakup had to happen also for us to see it more clearly. We certainly, I think, both do now, and we will see it even clearer in the future. But I would be curious for you, because you are still together and you are together for a while. Now, when couples realize things are not in balance, and we are on a certain part of of an autopilot, how can we, without breaking up, I mean, some people we have to leave also and to come into rebirth, I understand. But if there's a lot of stuff that we have in common and it's working, how can we work on that in getting out of that autopilot and sort of like wake up again? And it's like, okay, I think we have to change something. How is that for you? Can you guys speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, yes, sure. Do you want to start?
I have so many thoughts about it.
Okay, that's good.
Because I'm so curious now also, but it's you asking us, but I have so many questions now. To explain more what you mean with the female and male, you know, but I'm like, okay, it's about us in this moment, so I will hold back those questions to understand better your situation, but that would be something I would be so curious in, because, I think we also have been there, and how you said, I think also breakups are also happening within the relationship, but it doesn't have to mean how now you do it, really breaking up and leaving the apartment and getting a new home and you know, really separate paths, which I believe, if it's meant to be, you can also come back together again, you know, because how you describe so much respect and love, and also how many things you felt worked really well. Who knows if you guys will find your way back, and that's beautiful, and that will naturally happen. Really, I don't believe on that thing, you have to work on your relationship. I don't believe about that. I think it's about really knowing yourself, and I believe that's why breakups have to happen, and they happen naturally also within a relationship. We had several breakups, not breakups okay, now we break up with each other, but I would say breakdowns of our persona that we constructed and that didn't work, and that individually we didn't like. I didn't like who I became within the relationship, within the first years. I didn't like that, Katja. I didn't feel totally authentic. But this is something that I have felt all my life, that when I'm in relationships and also with friends, family, that I have this tendency to be a people pleaser and to lose my authenticity. And it's really exhausting to be somebody else than truly my own. And it's not his fault. I needed to learn that, because a lot of anger also came because you say this and you behave like this, because we had a lot of struggles as well, being from different cultures, which we totally ignored, but then noticed that there is a lot of coming with that different backgrounds, and different outlooks on life, and also perceptions of situations that we learn totally different in our countries and families. And then also, a lot of anger. I thought, oh, he treated me like this, that's why I need to behave like this. I don't have any other option. But no, I have a lot of any other options. I'm just not choosing them because I'm so afraid to really tap into my authenticity, and also maybe then have a conflict and not have all harmony and butterflies flying around, and but having a true harmony with myself, not with the other, with myself, because that's really what Gabe taught me, is like, you are thinking you want to have harmony, you have it with the people, but it's fake, because inside you have not harmony. You're really in disharmony because you're not really
speaking truly what you feel.
Exactly. You're manipulating.
So you have a
Yeah.
feeling, and then you hide it, and then just because you want harmony outside, you're not being you're being disharmony with yourself, because the harmony in the music, I would say that it flows in a way, right? It flows
Yes.
as you create it. So if you have something that interferes in that wave, that's a disharmony.
Yeah.
So
Yes, and I interfered a lot. I
Yeah.
controlled a lot, and I was not aware of that. And this was a pattern I already had. Like, it's not something that he brought into my life. I always had it, but I was not aware of it. So I, of course, also had it with you, right? Like, I went into the same pattern. And so what I wanted to say, like, there was a big breakup. Like, when we discovered that, and had, like, actually there was a really huge situation that happened. We can also share it after, if that's an interest. And it was like a breakup, because my persona was breaking down and his persona was breaking down. And it would have been also a moment, okay, let's just part ways, but somehow it was really that moment that true love happened. Like, I saw him, I get goosebumps, because I saw him really through the eyes of pure, unconditioned love. And this sounds so romantic, but it was so real. I've never seen him like that. And it was a very ugly situation. But in my eyes, it was the most beautiful feeling that came out, because I just felt such a warmth, and I just wanted to hold him, and he was crying in my arms. I was just holding him, and I felt so much love, and there was no transferring of guilt. You did that to me. This is so ugly. Why you behaved like? No, it was just like, I'm here. Like, I love you, and there was so much beauty in the situation. So this was a very transformative moment, and we had several of those.
Yes.
So what I wanted to say is those breakups, they will naturally happen, and then also it's always what then is immersing from it naturally. Do you feel like, okay, we part ways, or maybe it's like we part ways like we were before, but we will walk together still, but really exploring what now will come up when this past persona is gone. Like.
And I mean, it's a moment that's what Katja described. It's a moment of crisis, right? So that you see, okay, we're gonna break up or not. But I think it can also naturally happen because here's the thing: we need to understand what a relationship is, and a relationship is a mirror. So it's an opportunity to go deep on yourself, and if the other part comes to a point that there is a limitation, that this other side cannot go in the same journey that you are going to, because it doesn't resonate. He or she needs another counterpart, and you need another counterpart, another mirror, so you can exchange in another level. That naturally happens. That you say, hey, it's not about the other, it's about you. Myself. Or yourself. So when that happens, because your question is, hey, you guys are still together. Yes, we are together because we came to a conclusion, or let's say naturally, that, hey, we are evolving together. So we both had the moments of, say, it's not about me, or it's not about you, it's about me. So it's the moment that you step back and you see the relationship as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity to develop yourself. The thing is, we come with so much expectation, so much programming from our movies and
Yeah.
our childhood, and this the ideal of a perfect love and a perfect relationship, and we don't even know what true love is, because we see relationship as a transaction. So it's given and taken. And then when this given and taken is not there anymore, then you say, okay, so I'm in disadvantage, so it doesn't serve me, I will search for another one. So in the moment that we step back and say, so it's about myself. And when I have, let's say, a situation where I'm not growing as a persona, I'm not growing, I'm not being able of, I would not say as a persona, but I'm not being able to go deep and understand what am I, and what is this world, and what is this life, and what is the relationship with all of this. I need a new challenge.
I need to move on.
I need to move on.
And I think it's a feeling in the end.
And it's a
it's
feeling.
natural. It's
not like a list of things that, so you see, you didn't wash your dishes last night. You let your clothes on the floor. So you forget to put food to the dog. So it's not like this, you know.
Yeah, it's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling. So
And
when that happens, it has to happen. And it almost happened with us, but it doesn't mean that we worked on our relationship. No, we stepped back and said, no, let's work in ourselves. And then it happened that we stayed together, but it could be also.
And I wouldn't even say work on ourselves. I would say we started to share more about ourselves.
Yeah.
Like kind of with the crisis, there came so much insight, and I felt that trust and that I was eager to share it with Gabe what was coming up and why I was so triggered about his behaviors. And he, coincidentally, or you also had this feeling like you were suddenly seeing something that you have never seen that way. It was just unlocked, and you were sharing that with me. And so for us, the transfer of guilt stopped in that moment. And that's something that we really noticed, like how in relationships, and not only romantic, but I think romantic relationships are on steroids. Like it's the end enemy, because what you said, so many expectations, so many images we have, and so on steroids you feel everything that you also feel in other relationships that you experience, that you have. And so where was going with my thought? Since pregnancy I have those.
Yeah. But what is interesting, I would like to hear from you what what are you feeling now? Like what are your what would you like to experience that you're not experiencing?
Well, I am, so right now, and I can only say and speak from the now, meaning now that I'm speaking to you on this day at this time, right now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling quite settled within myself. And I say that quite a lot since the breakup. And I don't like the word breakup actually, in terms of like it's breaking or something. It's just changing, it's transforming.
Transform, yeah.
Yeah. So since that happened, there have been obviously days where I don't see any light, where it's really just pain. But now today, for example, I'm feeling very good. I'm in my power. I'm in my power because I'm doing, for example, this podcast, and this is giving me power. And this is like, I am doing this for myself. This is something that I'm doing for me. Okay. And this is not related to partnership or anything. This is about me. How can I fill my cup? So right now I'm feeling very good and I'm experiencing life very fully. I'm feeling very alive. I'm seeing my vision. I'm seeing my mission. I'm able to step into my masculinity even more because I know where I want to go. I know where I want to go with this podcast. I know where I want to go with my life in general. I know where I want to go as a man, where I need to be, because I need to grow up now. And this is a priority for me. I need to heal the relationship with my dad, especially. And also with my family, there's like some stuff that I want to address. And there's a lot coming up right now. It's like a boiling pot, but it's good. It's good. Stuff is coming to the surface. It's okay. I can handle it. So this is all the stuff that I'm currently experiencing. And so that all being said, I obviously don't know it any other way. So I cannot say if that is because of the breakup that this is all happening right now. I just know that it is happening. And the breakup is definitely a part of it that like unleashed a lot of those things. And while you guys were talking, what came up very strongly for me is there are many roads to the mountain. And I think, a romantic relationship that we put on the pedestal that has to last a specific number of years to determine the quality of those relationships, that's a myth. I mean, what does any number of years say about the depth of a relationship? Nothing. I can be married for 30 years and have the most superficial relationship, or I can have a 3 months romance with the most intense and incredible soul reflecting experience ever. I don't know. So this is what came up for me is like, I could probably have experienced similar things in relationships and have like a death within a relationship and a rebirth within the same one. Just a different part of me got activated. With where we are right now, Julia and myself, this is not the case. But now, obviously, it's all about doing the utmost best to maintain this level of connection and appreciation and respect and love for each other. Because yes, I agree, and this is also how I want to be in the world. Like I know that this is 100% my responsibility, and there have been moments in the last 2 months where I was pushed to my absolute limit when it comes to dealing with things on my own and not projecting anything onto the other person. Really. I mean, and I've done a lot of work on myself, I would say, but it's unbelievably difficult, really. I mean, because especially when one party makes the move on separating, you have to react in some way, and you feel a little bit like a victim in the first moments. So to shift from this sort of like reactive victim consciousness mentality into, okay, like what can I do for me? This also takes time, and it still takes time. And like I said in the beginning, I'm good. I can do it today. I can do it more like well. But sometimes I'm just like feeling fucking sorry for myself, and I'm like, oh man, this is so sad. But it's also okay. I want to also, I think, like love that part of myself and embrace it, and yeah. So I'm by no means obviously perfect with that. Yeah. So
yes, and thank you so
long
much,
answer.
Maxi, because it's awesome, and you brought back my train of thought because. Actually, I wanted to talk about, because I had before I had my loss of thought. It was exactly about that, about how in relationships we love to play the guilt game and the victim and perpetrator. Like you're always looking how to win in situations, not consciously, but between us it was a lot like this, and I felt a lot like a victim. Because I felt like I was the good girl, like, innocent and trying my best, and he saw a lot of flaws in it and interpreted in a way that I didn't want to, and I didn't want to be seen like that, and it was not my intention. And So I felt like a victim all the time, a lot, and this is a game that we really, in this crisis that we described earlier, it was the first conscious time, I would say, that we really stepped out of that and we saw that is where's my part in that, and why am I reacting like that, and what do I think I gain with it, and for him the same, and we just noticed it's a lose-lose. Like if you go into this victim perpetual, I'm against you, you against me.
It's always
like,
gonna be a fight.
It's always a fight, and there is no winner. In the end, there's no winner. Even if in the end it's like, okay, yeah, I was really bad, I'm so sorry, or but it doesn't feel resolved, because then it will again continue and repeat itself, and there you are the next weekend, you're the same situation again, and it doesn't feel good until you're like, okay, hey, we both have our responsibility in it, we have our parts, and let's look at my behavior. And Gabe helped me to look at it, but without judging and being like, oh, look how bad you do it, and look, there are you victim, oh, you're so fragile. And no, he was like looking at it with love, with me together, and it felt like, or it's feeling like we are a team, and then a problem arises and we both look at it and we're like, okay, what's coming up in you? And then we talk about that, and not so much about like, okay, now you are wrong, I'm right, the way you see it is totally bullshit, you have to see it like this. No, it's like, how interesting, tell me more, and then explore it together, and feeling this no judgmental way to look at something that I am judging, because I judge myself to go into this victimhood, and because I feel like, oh my God, I'm not in my strength, there I am again on the floor, crying, thinking like the world is against me, and he's not even putting more on this judging on me, but he's like, hey, come here, let's look at it together. What are you feeling? What is coming up for you? And pouring love into it, and then I start to do the same, and then it's not that bad, and yeah.
And this goes along, so the evolution of the relationship goes along with the evolution that we did also for ourselves. So we did a lot of inner work.
Yeah.
And that's what it is about. And in the end, it's all about relationships. So you mentioned relationship with our parents, with our family, with our friends. Of course, a romantic relationship, in this case between male and female, it's always challenging. Why? Because we have different ways of seeing the world.
Yes.
We have different biological systems and different hormones. So we see the world completely different. So this is the challenge is even more. It's not only the expectations that I have towards the other part, it's also how I see the world and my vision, in this case, and a differentiation on the gender, on the hormones in itself, so think and biological. And this makes everything more difficult. So every time that we go into a relationship and we have and we are not clear that we are going there to see ourselves. I'm going to see a mirror. So I have the opportunity to work on myself through the other person, because we need as well. So you cannot say, let's say it's a stupid example, but you cannot say that you're looking pretty or ugly if you don't see a reflection, right? So it's still an illusion, because it's a reflection and it's a judgment of pretty and ugly. But with relationship, every time that someone's triggered me, that is the sign that I should look into it. Because this is the thing that is giving me pain, right? That's making me suffering. And this is my interpretation. So we have to use the relationship in this sense. Every time there is something that I feel triggered about by the other part, is where I should look. So actually it's a gift. It's an opportunity to work on yourself. And then it changed the role of the relationships. Not more like what I'm gonna get. We are all guilty. So am I gonna feel less guilty than the other? Then I'm winning, right? The other one is more guilty than myself. So I'm not a good guy, but the other one is much worse.
Yeah. No, I so much resonate with that. And something that came up with me while you were talking is there's like a Mike Posner, the musician, and he once said, and it was just like he was just like in conversation. It was just like a little sentence on the side, but it so stuck with me. And he said, well, your music can only be as deep as you are as a person. And this goes, in my opinion, for all areas of life. Also, your relationships can only be as deep as you are as a person. And if you are not doing any work on yourself, and if you are constantly on the outside, externally, I need this and this and that, well, guess what? I guess your relationship will somehow reflect that, and you will
Totally
attract a partner who is on that frequency. And this is not good, this is not bad or worse. This is just like, if this is the state you're in, bam, you
That's
do
logic,
that.
actually, yeah.
Voila.
It
that,
is,
that
right?
is with everything. Because it's relationship is how I relate to. That's a relationship. And it's not about the other. The other is just going to show you what are your pains.
But that is why this construct that we build, that we want to get something from a relationship that we don't have inside, it's set up for failure. Because how you said, I totally agree with you. You won't get anything else than what you have inside. So you can't expect the relationship to bring you to levels that you have been, like, that you are not ready to go. I would still say that there's a little, I feel like there is, when you go on that path, that to really have a pure relationship, like with this intention of love, unconditional love, and really be there for each other. And there is, and I'm not sure if you agree, the 1 + 1 is more than 2. Because sometimes then you get a strength. I think you have it inside already, but somehow it leaks. Sometimes in situations I felt like we as partners, we in a relationship, we achieve is not the right word, but like we behave together even in levels I wouldn't have thought it's possible. You know, when I think about the hospital that we had with Koa, like I think I could have gone alone through that all, but having Gabe consciously with me, and really I had the feeling that together we really pulled each other into this vibration of gratitude and being there and just surrender, no resistance, and we had each other as a reminder. And I think alone, maybe I would have drifted away, but always when I drifted away, Gabe was there to, hey, come back here. And then when he drifted away, I was like, hey. And that's, I think, where relationships can go to 1 + 1 is more than 2.
Yeah. Just a side note, in this case, it happened to be that we are husband and wife, but it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be anyone that is this counterpart. So, and that's why it is, you are totally right. It is 1 + 1 is more than 2 in a relationship, because it's when it's a, let's say, unconditional love union. It doesn't matter gender or whatever. It is something out of this world that we know, because what we know, it's all with conditions. So all our feelings in this world is or let's say in our daily life, is with conditions. So I'm doing something to get something. So I'm giving you an advice to get something. So I'm giving you but I'm expecting.
It's trading,
it's
right?
trading. But when it's an unconditional feeling, there is no condition behind. It's just giving. So, and when that happens, it's actually where miracles happen. Let's say. So things start to work in a different way.
Different vibration.
And this is also with ourselves when we create this relationship, because that's also funny, Max. We also have a relationship with ourselves, right? We have a little voice inside that is telling us a lot of things. And this voice can be very mean, can be terrible. And if we manage to create a love relationship inside, and this voice is every time that tries, it brings you positive and brings you and gives you this warm feeling. Also, your life starts to resonate with that, and things start to connect like a synchronized, and then you go in the path that you're supposed to. So and I feel that you are living that right now. Yeah? And it's a result because you are creating also another relationship with yourself. You're being more kind, you're being more generous, you're being more unconditional, and you're loving more unconditionally. And this is going to resonate, and that's why it transforms. And sometimes what was happening before, it doesn't serve anymore.
I completely agree. This the idea of unconditional love can only, in my experience, and when I'm looking back at my relationship, can only arise from a place of wholeness within. If you are lacking, you won't be able to love unconditionally. This is really something that I found very much. And yes, of course, like we're all on this path. It's not like once you reach this point, you can love unconditionally and then never again, or like always from then on. It's like a constant sort of dance, I have the feeling.
Yes,
and
this a lot of times is not unconditional.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like so much. And so like, and also what I wanted to emphasize a little bit on is like I think, and like I said, you guys are still in a relationship. I'm just coming out of one, but like me being able to talk about it and also intellectualizing is like one thing, but like I just want to emphasize one more time that even with that level of understanding and consciousness for a relationship, things just happen. And I don't know, it's just like over time you are having more and more blind spots. And like now that there's like distance, and I say, the actual infrastructure of the relationship and how you go to fix that could also be taking a break or something. It doesn't need to, but you have to have like some sort of distance from each other or to the situation to be able to assess what is actually going on. And because otherwise you're just like in the same sort of dynamic that you're always in, and to like pull yourself out of that completely in everyday life like that is unbelievably difficult. Even when you're like meditating and when you're doing work on yourself and when you're having like reflective conversations with people around it, I still found it, I don't know, nearly sometimes impossible to look at the relationship with Julia, for example, and to address certain issues with me. Like I said, like it's, I don't know, it's just like falling away, like you have like tomatoes on your eyes. It's just like, oh my God, like I'm in certain parts, I'm way too much in my feminine, like way too much. I'm just like, I don't know, I completely over-identify with the receiving and softness and stuff, and I'm just lacking vision. I'm just lacking my purpose. And on other things, I'm just like unbelievably heady and in my head, and I cannot receive. I cannot relax. I cannot... I'm just like always in like, it also has to be organized and structured and otherwise. So it's like this polarity, obviously. And to get out of this, obviously with friends outside of a relationship or with new people coming in, I see that so clearly now. And I get mirrored back exactly that as well. Like I can be completely different in my masculinity with other people now coming into my life because there is no history.
Past.
Yeah, no
Yes.
past. So it's
Yes.
like a blank canvas, and I'm just like, here I am. I'm 29, and I did some work on myself. So let's let's do that. And I could still do the same thing with my partner after many years, but I'm just saying it's unbelievable. It's difficult and it's different.
It is.
And it's not impossible, but it's difficult. And we decided now to not do it like that. And I don't know, or actually, to be honest, I didn't decide it. So it was coming more from Julia, but it's okay. And like I said, I'm making, this is like I turn it into my path now as well. And I have to, I mean, I have to live my life now.
It is. It's happening.
So,
You have no choice.
no, I
But
don't.
one comment on that. So think about, let's say you're 29 years old. You have been conditioned for 29 years. So how do you want to get rid of all these conditions, all these beliefs, everything that you have been assuming and assuming, let's say, assumptions, all the assumptions from our parents, from our grandparents, from the society, from everything, to dealing with this body in here and with our conscience. It's not easy. So I would say you would need at least another 29 years if you want to say. No, I'm just kidding. But just to show that sometimes we want these things to be over when there's a habit, a thought habit inside of us. So we have habits, and to break down a habit requires another habit, right? And awareness. So it's normal. It happens with us as well.
All of us. Yeah.
But this is the journey. So that's why we need to embrace also this other side, because we have to see that as a part of the programming or the beliefs that we assumed, and that it's not us. It's just a way of thinking. It's just a way of relating to the reality. So it's just an interpretation, let's say.
Yes.
So to get rid of this interpretation requires a lot of work and a lot of dedication, because it's 29 years in your case and 40 years in my case, It's a lot of time.
Yes.
And also
no,
7
for
years
sure.
of relationship, living a pattern of behavior that automatically comes in. Like we human beings, we like also comfort, and
familiarity. Yes.
Yes, known. Really like the known. And then that's why, and for me it's still bizarre because I totally relate to what you said with, and there comes a new person and you can show exactly who you are right now. And then isn't it bizarre that with the person that you live together, you go into the same bed every night and lay down together on the side, but you are sometimes feeling more as a stranger than to a newly met person that you just opened up to and showed exactly who you are right now. And I really try to wrap my head around it, what it is, and I think it's exactly this. We don't like change. And with that new person that we meet, we don't have to change because we are what we are right now. But with a person that we have a past and a history, this would be a change, because oh my God, we are constantly changing. And when we are on this path, on this choice to personal growth and getting to know and wanting to know who I am, this, guess what, is changing all the time, because we always figure out something new. So you are changing, evolving all the time. And if we are afraid to show that to our partner, he becomes a stranger, because guess what, he doesn't know what's going on inside of you. He doesn't know who you are really, because you're hiding it, because somehow you are afraid that there's this, you're afraid that a change might not be perceived well, and maybe then you're not vibrating anymore on the same. You're getting here, and then the other one is maybe afraid or angry, and then you have a conflict, and oh my God, I don't have time for conflict because I have to work or whatever, and I have a child, I don't have time to discussion, so let's just hide those things. I can share with the new one that I saw there, and I feel very comfortable, but it's uncomfortable to really let the other one in, and it also requires time and also the willingness to open and be vulnerable and let the one see it, and then also maybe let him perceive that, oh, you are different from what you sold to me last month.
I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, this is it's not beautiful in my vision, you know, and there's a risk. Oh, and we human beings, we don't like risk. We like it to be safe, and I think that's a lot what's happening with relationships, even also with friendships, right? Like sometimes friends, you have them for 20 years, but it is based on the past. It is not. Sometimes I'm wondering if I would now pass by that person, would I connect
I know exactly
again? Maybe not, you know. So it is, and that's the same with loving relationships. So it takes courage. And also time, and also a lot of opening and letting the other in and see yourself fully. And for that, you have also to see yourself fully and to accept it, because we are also insecure about our changes, right? Uncomfortable. Like, ugh, I said something and now I don't feel it anymore. What was my opinion about the topic? Maybe even yesterday. I had another, encounter with somebody, or read something, or I felt something in a meditation, and I don't agree anymore with what I said yesterday. So, I'm insecure about that too. So it takes a lot of trust.
I love it. I love it very much.
Oof.
Yeah, I love it very much. I really like where this conversation is going. Very conversational. I love it. And I would guess I would summarize that there is no shortcut to the success or the beauty in a relationship without you have to do the work on yourself, no matter how you look at it, no matter if you are so either you stay in a relationship and you just trying to, I don't know, basically justify the bad parts or the unfulfilling parts by it just being comfortable, or you just project your own stuff on somebody new and say, this person is going to fix me. In either one of those scenarios, you are fleeing from doing the work inside. And I think
for failure.
Yeah, and this is just so I think this is really something to underline again. No shortcut. You have to work on yourself, and you have to take responsibility and accountability for your own behavior, which you are bringing in a relationship, in any relationship, also in a friendship. I absolutely also love relationship. I had another conversation about it with a friend of mine, a very, very dear and long friend of mine. And I was just very openly sharing. I was like, hey, there's a certain area of my life that I've been dedicating my time and my energy towards, which is this work on myself. And our relationship is based on a different part, on an old part of myself, or which is still there, which is based on my creativity and music and stuff. But with this new part, I cannot fully, or actually not at all, share something from this newer part of me with you, because only the music part resonates. So how can we go about that? And surprise, surprise, the relationship actually didn't end, but at that point, it actually got even more deep because then he could respond to it, but I had to actually say something about it. And that took also courage. And I don't know, but I just saw it like, okay, this is a relationship where like there's two individuals, and just because we knew each other for so long and we shared so many moments together, it doesn't mean that we cannot also grow apart, and we have to have conversations like this, you know, they are uncomfortable. And so this is what was coming up, Katja, when you were like speaking, which I just wanted to say, yes, it's just a relationship and it needs work, no matter if it's romance or friendship. I don't know, you have to have those conversations because you're just, I don't know, you're just adults. And I don't know, 98% of the times, also my life experience from now, it's up until now, it's just like, no matter when you're like not completely being rude or something like that, but when you're bringing it up in a nice way, it always normally leads to a good conversation and to deeper connection and stuff, because you're just honest, and from that something can arise, you know, instead of just like, I don't know, continue the sort of very superficial thing that's already been going on just because it's known and comfortable. So I just wanted to bring that up. So now I actually have some topics that I definitely wanted to talk to you guys about. And so I want to slowly start moving into one of those topics.
Please,
and that is basically and this is coming out of personal interest. So I feel like I said, Peter Pan is over. Like the next relationship I also want to be in is a relationship, and I also completely changed my opinion about monogamy and polyamory and all of those things. And when it comes to commitment, I completely changed my mind. I was very open. I'm not as open anymore. I'm more like, I want to commit, and I think this is more also, or I feel like this is also suiting to the man that I want to become. It's not like this, like, oh yeah, let's just see. And no, I when I feel like I connect with somebody, that I also want to commit to them, to give it my full attention, then see where it goes. I cannot, you know, promise anything, but just see where this is going. But okay, anyway, that's enough now for me. What I want to ask is, what's your guys' opinion and personal journey with commitment, and also being in a monogamous, committed relationship? I actually don't even know if you are, but just in general wanted to ask, like, where are you guys standing there, and how do you guys look on this whole sort of dynamic with relationships being very flexible and open versus more traditional and committed? Yeah.
That's a very
good question.
Well, it's a very good topic, and something that we talk a lot as well, because we like to analyze, and we like just to see things. And it is actually, there's a couple of comments that I would like to do, but let's start like this. We're talking about, when you're thinking about the open relationship, you're thinking about sexual, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be like having a friendship between like a man and woman, and each one do whatever they want, right? But we have also this concept of having like a kind of a ownership, no? So I own you, you own me. We have like a deal, a secret, not secret, but a contract.
Mm-hmm.
About what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And speaking from our experience, when you tap into that in a relationship that is pure most of the time, and that you want the best for the other, no matter what, it's a unconditioned love. If the other has, let's say, desires, that physical desires that goes outside of what is happening in the inside, automatically my reaction would say, hey, go for it. But I don't know how I'm gonna react if that happens. I cannot say today that, oh yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, good,
Go for it.
and then after, yeah, how was it? It was good. I don't know if I'm gonna react like this, or I'm gonna feel like strange, and I will feel like I'm not sure if I want to keep this relationship, you know,
Or this dynamic.
or whatever it is. So it's very it's something that, and go back to another comment that I want to say, that you have already image in your head how you would like to have, right? And how would you would like to be in the relationship. My advice to you is just get rid of this. It's okay to have an image, but it doesn't have to be like that. In the sense, we don't have anything like, we don't have like an agreement like, okay, you are open to do whatever you want, I'm open to do whatever we want, but we would like to have transparency. And if something comes inside and I say, hey, there is a desire that comes inside, then I would communicate. The funny thing, and we talked about this, and we are pretty open and honest with each other, we don't feel it. So there is no, you don't feel the necessity of searching for something external because you feel fulfilled. So there is no space for something else. But this is naturally like this. It's not a deal that we did. It becomes natural. If that changes in the future, we are open to that as well, to say, hey, I'm open. So if that change, it's okay. Let's see what's happened. But there's no commitment in this sense.
Commitment? What do you mean?
No, commitment, a contract. Like
a contract.
Yeah, there's not a... yeah.
It's not a rule.
It's not a rule.
Yeah, I'm sensing there's a lot of... so what I'm sensing is there is actually a lot of commitment between you. So there's actually no need for a contract.
Yeah.
This is actually sort of like
That's why there is commitment.
The commitment with being true to yourself.
Yeah, and like a commitment also to the partnership that you guys are in, because it is fulfilling and it doesn't spark any urge in you that I don't know, keeps you both on the lookout for something better. But this is a result of you guys being committed to each other, as far as I'm seeing it from the outside. Because if you are constantly, because otherwise you cannot also be fully present with one another. If you're like constantly browsing, I don't know, for other options, I have the feeling, if you're not like fully committed. And
that's so true.
Yeah, I also feel like
look where this need comes from. Huh?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Where does my urge come from to, I don't know, wanting to explore other women, for example, or men?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and actually, again, that could be a moment of crisis, which actually also could be a great turning point in a relationship. So if that happens, that Gabe has a desire or me, I have a desire, and we communicate it before we live it, because sometimes there's such, I feel like, such a power in just talking about it, just letting it out, not having it secretly inside, because then it's like growing and you know, you don't look at it, you know, you don't, it's something hidden and mysterious, and if you can't communicate it, you're not really true to yourself either, right? So it's something not known, and maybe you act on it, and then you notice, oh, actually it didn't fulfill me, it didn't, you know. And I really think there's also power in sharing and then look at it together, because I think superficially it could be, oh, I would love to have sex with somebody else. But maybe on a deeper level, it says a lot about the relationship, or what's maybe missing, or you don't feeling seen, or, you know, and exploring this together could be a great opportunity to, again, grow closer.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why I think it's all about courage.
Yeah.
And I say that a lot because I didn't have this courage years ago to transparently communicate what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, how I perceive this world, because of my own judgment about it, and I really feel it takes courage, and this is also taking responsibility. It's a lot what you were saying, Maxi. If sometimes we are secretly waiting for the partner to do something that you are missing, or to act differently, but you're not saying it. I'm telling up one step. I was not saying it, and I didn't take responsibility for that desire and wish inside of me. So why I'm not growing up, becoming a woman, and just say, hey, I really would like you to tell me more that you love me. Do you love me? And then he maybe says, yes, I love you so much. Or he says, actually, I'm not so sure. But then you have a conversation about it. You know, but when I feel like, oh, he probably doesn't love me so much because he doesn't tell me, it's just an hypothesis.
Yes.
And I'm creating a whole story about it, and he doesn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And I'm behaving different, and I'm maybe manipulating in some ways that he maybe tell me, oh, you look beautiful, but he doesn't even know about this hidden agenda. And I'm not stepping up for myself. I don't take the responsibility, and don't be courageous to just tell what I need and what is my desire and almost always when this happens and you start to talk, then you are seeing your own desire or wish or whatever it is, and then you actually you can really see it. You know, you can also do journaling first if it feels really unsafe to communicate it to a friend or partner or parents, to get more clear about what is inside, because sometimes it's just a chaotic thing that you don't even know exactly what it is. But in the moment that you try to communicate, you can see it more clearly, and then sometimes it's something
true, but
totally different.
if it's calling, then I would say do it. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it's calling and you're communicating and you still have the desire, I think we should do it. We should pursue our fulfillment, whatever that means. The problem is that it's always, I would say, hidden. We think that it's in the external. So that's why the question is, where does desire come from?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. No, but I think we are very close together with how we see things, because I'm completely I think it's a fine line between having needs and always going to be and having desires, which are, I believe, also for men just purely biologically are probably always going to be there in terms of testosterone or something like that. Yeah. I think that's also to a degree just normal, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. To be sometimes also just purely, I don't know, somehow physically attracted to a beautiful looking woman. I don't know what the fuck, I don't know, it's just happening. Yeah. But then it's about okay, can I bring this to my partner? And that's where the commitment is, because our commitment is that we are trying to, or not trying, but we are making things work, and we want to make things work together. And this is why I want to share that with you. I want to communicate this with you. What the outcome of that is then, I don't know. It can be then that together we decide, okay, honestly, your fantasies without me, I don't know, this is too much for me or something like that. You have to do it, I don't know, somewhere else, or you have to do some work where this is coming from. Okay, this could be the result, but I'm just talking about the initial step is, okay, I'm in a relationship and I'm committed and I want to make it work. So I'm feeling a desire within myself and I bring this to my partner. And what we then decide to do with it, I don't know, it could go either way, but it's this sort of courage to bring it to the partner and to wanting to communicate about it. I think this is and I think we are
desire.
Very obviously not.
We need to be careful, right? Otherwise, it's just something that goes into our head. I mean, women had a little bit more difficult to understand. I believe, I don't know, because I can only speak about the men vision. but that's a fact. I mean, men's are much more stimulated by visual than women. So when it's a strong desire, then yes, I think it has to be brought to the table. But if it's just like an image that comes through your mind, and you say,
Yeah,
like,
of
oh
course.
no, this is just an image. Otherwise, it can be a hell.
Now I'm interested in those little
Yeah,
images.
you don't want to know.
So in the preparation also for the podcast and like a tiny conversation, Katja, you and me, we shared on voice notes. I got the like something that stuck in my brain was that you, and that's how I perceive you guys. You were able to keep the spark alive, or maybe reignite it or something like that. And I'm sure many of the listeners will have similar, or are navigating similar waters and are like going through, I don't know, after the initial sort of like honeymoon butterfly phase is over, things are slowing down a bit. So I would ask you the $1 million question: how did you guys keep the spark alive?
That's good, and
Love it.
that's true. Yeah, we keep it alive.
Awesome.
I love it.
Hello, but I think it's
I have a sip of water.
Do it.
I think when you're in a relationship that it's about yourself and it's also about the other, so it's like a mirror, and there is no expectations whatsoever what this relationship should be or how it should be in the future, how it is now. It's just like hey, your pleasure, it's my pleasure. So my pleasure is your pleasure. So let's find, and that is through communication, of course, you need the communication, but let's explore together. Because sometimes what happens most of the time is that the man has something in the head, what turns his on, and the woman has something in her head that turns her on, and you don't communicate because you think that sometimes we are not even aware of it, and then there's a disconnection in the process, in the sexual process. So in the moment that you bring that also to the time in bed, that you have this care about how the other is feeling, and it's a journey together. Well, that was what we did. I don't know if it would work with other couples, but
I mean, that is the spark sexually, right?
Yes.
But the spark for me
it was not sexually.
is not only sexually. I don't know. Was it a sexual related question or
No, completely
generally,
open.
right?
Completely open.
Yes.
Whatever
Yeah,
it means for
because-
you guys.
Sexually is something also that it's a big challenge for many couples.
Of course,
think so,
intimacy,
because-
big one. Yes.
Yeah. And I think there is also coming this thought about opening up a relationship. A lot of times the motor is the sex, but I think deep down it is more to feel alive again, like to have something adventurous together, to explore, to find different side of you, you know, you know that there's more inside that wants to be lived, but sometimes you're stuck in your current relationship. So that's why through sex, you think this could be a gateway for something deeper, for this feeling alive and be also your brain being turned on again, and to explore. You know, we want to explore. We're like children. We forget that. Like now having a child ourselves. Wow, man, this is like, it's our little guru. Like to see him and then to remember we have been children and just exploring, playing around all the time, and this is what fulfilled us. I mean, he doesn't need anything else and just play, you know. And I think we still have that inside of us, but we let it die. We get numb, and this is in a lot of aspects of our lives, and of course again, what is inside will be in your relationship as well. So relationships turn numb and it's not fun anymore, not adventurous on any level, being in the bed or outside of it. And actually, when we think about it, like you spend much more time outside of bed. So to have also a spark there, you know, in just being together, enjoying the company, and also enjoying, for me it's actually all about enjoying myself in this relationship. So it's not so much about enjoying him, I mean he's amazing, but it's enjoying who I am in his company, being there physically or not, but just who I become every day even more. And this is what really, why I would say there was a lot of spark in the beginning, a lot of passion, but now it feels so much more authentic and true and pure, and the love is like it is so present all the time, and this makes life very enjoyable. Like and that's the spark actually. That's the spark. It's like I really love who I am with Gabriel.
And you give the space to be who you are, independent where. So inside, outside the bed, or in daily life. So it's just like giving the space to the other to feel comfortable to be what they would like to be. And that's I don't know if it would be the answer.
Yeah, but you know what's funny?
Beautiful.
Because I think in the beginning, like in the first years, we had a lot of more rules and things, you know, hidden, but they were existent.
Yeah, the masks.
And
You put the persona mask, and that's something that came in while you were talking. Like, in the moment that these masks go out or fall apart, and you feel safe with the other side, only there's you don't feel the need of anything else, because you're feeling totally comfortable to be with the other. And it's not like I'm playing a role and I'm afraid that the other discovers that actually I'm not like this. I'm putting so much effort, so much energy to pretend that I am this persona, because I think in this way this other person will like me, and because I believe that this other person has something that I have to get for me to feel better, and it's all a hidden game.
Yeah.
And in the moment that this falls apart, I think that it's completely fulfillment everywhere, and then you want to spend time with the other.
Yeah.
I would love to straight away ask a second follow-up question. How do you guys feel about boundaries, about a framework? I don't want to use the word rules, so let's maybe stick to boundaries, or like a frame for a relationship. How important is that, and what boundaries do you guys maybe also recommend for people who are in a romantic relationship and want to live in a fulfilled one?
No boundaries.
Or maybe no, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, because in the moment that you put rules and boundary in, you're already saying how the others should behave in certain way,
In certain situations.
in certain situation, let's say. And then there is an expectation, but in the moment that I say, hey, there is no boundaries. I mean, I'm holding this space for you to be. And maybe if you want to call this a rule, the rule is trying to be as honest as possible with yourself. Because in the moment that you're honest with yourself, you're also communicating this in this comfort environment. And then if let's say, comes a desire of having a physical experience with somebody else, and you're communicating that because it's really a desire, and you are my best friend, and I would say, hey, look, if that's what is calling you, is truly calling you, yeah, go for it. Go for it. I don't know how it's going to be in the future, but I can only say for now, I love you unconditionally, if you are with me or not. So if you find somebody else that you got so attracted that you want to have an experience with that person, or even have a relationship with that person, yes, of course it would hurt, but I would say, go for it. Go for
Yeah.
it. You know why? Because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And in the moment that Katja gets attracted to another man or woman or whatever, and wants to step out of our daily relationship, she will be for me always that person, and that my relationship with her will always be pure. And so I don't need her to be on my side for that to happen. And if that happens, that means that I should also experience something different.
Exactly, it's also the best for you.
It's
when this
also the
happens.
best for
Yeah.
me. So I hold on to this, and I will go to the next challenge, whatever this may be or look like, with my arms open, because this is what I should be living or experiencing, because we are talking about experiences. So no boundaries, in my opinion. I don't.
Yeah, and I think why you can say that, and why vulnerability doesn't feel so threatening anymore, is because what we just said with this, like that you like who you are in this relationship. It became a gateway to yourself, right? And this is very empowering. So this is a very funny dynamic, actually. The more that I am who I am in this relationship, the less I need this relationship. So the less I need Gabriel, you know? But the funny thing is, the more I want to be with him, you know?
Yeah.
I choose him very consciously every day. And it's just out of, I want to be with you. Not
Yes.
because you can give me something I don't have. No, I am whole myself. And it now sounds like I feel that all the time. No, I have other situations and times that I don't feel that, and that's when I get a lot triggered by him. And this is why triggers are so amazing, to show us, hey, you don't have to try to change fix him. Look inside, something is really not going on well inside of here. You need more time to yourself. So, but what I want to say, the more comfortable that you are with yourself in a relationship, and you're more like who you are, and it's aligned with your essence, the less you need it, and the less you need boundaries, because you're not afraid even to lose that person, because there's no loss, because you know that you are independent, actually. And this is a freedom. This is the real freedom that we're all longing for. But I think we really try in a lot of relationships to manipulate, so the other one is never free, because you want him to not feel comfortable to leave you, because that would be a threat to your life and to your visions of your life, to your images. You just bought a house, you just had a child. How can he leave? He's not allowed to leave, so I try to make him dependent on me, or to
What the others will say.
Yes, and I think that's why also for me that was coming up, no boundaries, but because this all doesn't feel fragile. It's allowed to happen, whatever wants to happen, and I trust in it. And I'm not thinking there are threats that I have to protect this relationship from. Yeah, that's no boundaries.
Like, so this is like very interesting for me, because like I love everything that you guys are saying, and I'm seeing a lot of myself also in what you are describing. I think we tried like our utmost best to also not have boundaries, and still the boundaries are, and this is not the boundaries, it's what we discussed earlier. The commitment is like, when you have a foundation and the house is not built on sand, but it has a solid foundation, the the need for boundaries doesn't. It's not necessary because there's no threat to something which is. I mean, this is the definition of unconditional, isn't it? Because like it is not tied to a condition to how this relationship needs to be in order for both of us to be together. It's unconditional, like you and me, and I love you like that, and no matter what's happening. And it's just like it's very interesting for me to be like here now in this conversation, because like I'm seeing a lot of the things in our relationship, because Julia and myself, we talked a lot about it like you do now, and we also really didn't want to have any boundaries. And what I'm saying is it's not at all saying something different than to what you are saying. I'm just adding on top of it that at some point in a relationship also it can be that that even though there are no boundaries, even though there is a commitment, even all of this is in place and it's also working, there is still certain parts, and this is coming back to always like the own personal development, that you can do better on your own. And that's why you separate, for example. And so for me, that because like my ego, as you were talking, was like, this is exactly the relationship I had. Why did it have to end?
It didn't work.
But I know in deep inside, I know, like, yes, of course, because there are, and I this is like then something I don't have to share now in great detail, but I know exactly what it is for me, at least, what now needs to be worked on for me.
Yes.
And no boundaries, or no boundaries, or no better communication could have prevented that. I need to look at this completely independently. And like I said, yes. So I just wanted to share like that. This was sort of like a good mirror for me. And then I was like, I was looking at my ego saying this, and now, but I know inside that it's my work I need to do now on my own, to bring in any other relationship that I'm gonna be in, because I'm gonna keep repeating that in another relationship if I don't resolve that in myself. Like that coin that flipped for me as well. Like I totally understand that there's no turning back. I cannot. Because
not in this moment.
Yeah, not in this moment. Yeah, for sure.
And let me ask you. So the feeling that you have towards Julia is still the same, right?
You mean that I still like love her, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I do.
And this will never go away.
I know.
And it doesn't have to go away.
It doesn't have to go away. And that's the thing now, because we are attached to the image of a relationship.
Yes.
Of a romantic relationship, and that it has to stay together forever, and it has to be in a certain way. Then it will be blessed by God, whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
But actually, it's built on conditional love, and this is not divine love. Divine love is unconditioned, so it's a big contradiction there.
And you know what came up to me when you spoke, Maxi, and also now you, is let's make one thing clear. The objective of a relationship is not that it lasts. Because that's something we sometimes put on this. This is the biggest, because you were saying also like the commitment, and it's something also like always told me like there's like the end goal is that it lasts. But this is not, I think, or I feel, the objective or purpose of a relationship. This doesn't have to last.
No.
Like this is,
and we are not attached to it, actually.
Not anymore, I have to say. And that's also why boundaries became lesser and lesser, and it feels so safe to say no boundaries, because if this goes into another direction and even we part ways, there's such a trust in, I love this person forever and I don't have to stop loving him in order, for example, to love somebody else. So this is also a concept we have, I feel like, oh, we have to end this, and also we only end it if it's really miserable, right? Because then you're allowed to leave. You can't leave when
then
it really
you hate
feels
the
good,
other person.
You know, so there has to be something really wrong. No, like trust in the flow of life. If desires come up, if people come up, if also the wish to be alone comes up. Alone is not inferior to be in a relationship, you know? Like, it's not that
Oh
this
my
is
God,
superior
this is
to your situation right
everybody
now.
is saying that. I mean, nobody wants to be alone, and it's like you failed in this society if you are alone, literally.
Yes.
And that's why we stay in relationships all
Even
the
if
time.
you're miserable.
Even if you're miserable. And this is not, you're not on a
And
better
I have to stick
place.
to it. And
Yeah.
there must be something there in the future that I will gain if I still
Yes.
keep being abused in this relationship, whatever. So that's why people stay in an abusive relationship as well.
Because
Yeah, it's horrible.
believe that it is the end goal of a relationship, it is to last.
To last, yeah.
And no, it is not.
But
And it has to
it's
be
actually really
physical.
fun. Like I completely agree. And this is also, again, because you just brought it up with commitment. For me, it's not like it's two sides of the same coin, and it goes hand in hand. It's just like this is really from my subjective personal way of being in the world. I feel like, because so since the breakup, since I was doing consciously, I was like, I am not gonna distract myself. I'm going to go fully through what I need to go through. I'm not like completely isolating myself as a monk or something like that, but I'm consciously just like feeling what needs to be felt, because if I'm not gonna feel it now, it's gonna come up at some stage. So I'm just gonna go through it now. And that led me to doing a lot of work with like values. And because I had the feeling like I'm lacking a little bit of vision when it comes to, or just in general, I'm lacking a little bit of vision. And I figured values could be a good way of aligning myself a little bit more, my intention and my impact, because sometimes it's still like quite far away from each other, but I want to bring it more into alignment. I think I'm coming from a good place, but for example, for my businesses and stuff that I did professionally, it did not really always work out the way that I wanted, or like that I think were my intentions. And I was like, okay, I wonder why that is. And I now figure out more and more, because my values weren't as clear. So anyway, this is a very long-winded way of saying I did like some work with values, and one value that I have is presence. I have 3 values that are important to me, and one is presence. And with that, because I was doing like a lot of brainstorming, with that came a lot around when I want to be present fully in the now, first of all with myself and in a relationship with my partner, that leads for me to some sort of commitment, because I'm 100% like present with them. And I want to, this is also something in me, I feel like. The more that I'm sort of like maturing, I'm like, I'm investing also in a relationship, you know, I'm giving a lot of myself into the relationship. So I also want to, and this is not that I want to get something back from the other person. It's, for me, it just helps me to, for myself, commit to the person so that I can fully be present with them and give them my full attention and everything, because it's not scattered all over the place. It's like I committed, this search is over. Like I don't need to look for somebody else. I found someone that I want to share my life with, and or not my life, but the present moment with. If that happens to be the life, okay. But I want to share like now and the future with for however long. And this is just like my definition of what commitment is. There's still, I don't want to have contracts in place or rules and this is what you can do and not. It's just like this sort of like, I cut that open cord of the possibility of like another partner, because if that really is something that's gonna come up and if we grow apart, then this is happening anyway, no matter what my commitment is. Like the commitment to stay in a bad relationship, that's what does that commitment bring? Nothing. It's not worth something. But it's just like to fully be present with the other person. I feel like right now will be very helpful for me to commit to one person, to give it all, to be fully there and to love it unconditional and for however long. And then let's see what happens. I cannot control it anyway. But that was just coming up for me.
May I ask you something?
Yes, of course.
May I ask you something?
Yes, of course.
So when you say about this commitment of this value that you brought to be present, weren't you doing it before?
Completely honest, I mean, in 7 years, I changed a lot. So, I mean, the relationship started when I was 22. So, and I got to know Julia when I was 21. So back then I was Peter Pan. I was like the little prince, you know, I was a boy. Yeah. And so I would say definitely not for the 7 years. Maybe the last 2 or something like that got really intense in terms of personal work and what the work that I did on myself and also Julia for herself. And then also the conversations really started to go really deep into what we are discussing: commitment, opening the relationship, having desires for other people. How do we handle this? Really open communication, transparent, vulnerable, all of those stuff. Holding the other person where they are at, really supporting them, and also taking responsibility for ourselves individually. So all of this happened in the last 2 years. But still, honestly, I'm growing now even more, obviously. And I will be more, I will know my flaws and my construction sides even better in the next relationship, for sure. For sure.
But let me ask you another question. Are you giving us your presence right now?
Yes.
So are you doing like it's effort? You putting effort on it? Or it's happening naturally?
I would say right now, right here with you in the podcast, it's quite natural because it's really something I really love and I enjoy, and it's giving me purpose, it's giving me vision, it's coming, it's flowing. I also don't have I don't have a script, I don't have so this, and it allows me to be present. It's unbelievably difficult for me to be present with things that I need to do, that I don't know, it's some parts of work or like, I don't know, that's where I'm really feeling I'm struggling and I get distracted easily or more easily. So, and then it's just unnecessarily hard because I'm just dragging it out for so long, and I'm it costs a lot of energy. Yeah, what's the word when you don't do something but
Draining?
procrastinate. I'm procrastinating, and that's why I'm not because I'm not present. I'm somewhere else.
But then let me ask. So when you talked about your next relationship, you have one of the things is you're committing with is the presence of your values. So you're already like having an image on how you will behave on your next relationship, right?
Not in specific in a relationship, just in life. And
In life,
I
okay.
I guess what I know what you're saying, like in mind versus also, and this is something that I'm also very much working on, feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Just being with what is, connecting to my intuition, to my tummy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, for now, big decisions are coming up for me in my life. Big ones. Where do I want to live? What do I want to be doing? With whom? Maybe I want to spend time. I don't know. Like, there's a big decisions coming up. And I'm really trying my best. I'm here, I'm laid down on the floor. I put one hand on my tummy. I close my eyes. I'm breathing and I'm asking the questions. And I'm really observing myself to not go to the brain, not go to the ego, not go to the mind. I'm really trying to feel, okay, what does really feel good for me right now? And so I'm completely aware of, I don't know, narrowing things down and going through life like this. And it's like, those are my thing, and I'm not gonna let anything intervene. And at the same time, having clear values that are important to me, that hold me accountable and say, are you living up to how you want to be in the world? So the three values are passion, presence, and love. So those are the three. And I think they help me to be calibrated and look at decisions also that I make. Are you coming from a place of love? Are you doing what you're doing with passion? And are you present when you're doing it? Those are like this is a little bit my compass. But within that, there's a lot of space, I have the feeling. I'm not like very rigid on cutting things out. But I would be curious, because you asked like that. How do you perceive it? Like, do you think that this is not important,
Yes.
or it is important, or how? What does it bring up for you?
Yeah, what's bring up for me the feeling that I had is that you have already a structure of how you want to live your life and how you want to behave and how you want to relate and the person that you want to be or the man that you want to be in the relationship in the future. And I had the feeling for a moment that it's not so much room to feeling and let it flow. And things will happen naturally. And if you're not able for any reason to give your presence, which is very important, in that moment, that may be not the task or the person that you should be with,
Yes.
for example. Or that might not be the task, and we are like forcing it because we have an image on the things, how the things should be and how it should work. And it's just this deconstruction of this image, and that's what helped us a lot as well in our relationship, is to deconstruct. Because in the moment that you have an image and you have an expectation, then there is a possibility of frustration. Because frustration can only come if something happens not in the way you would like that to happen. So you're frustrated because it's not the way you would like to. It's not the way that you imagine. So in this sense is, yes, presence is very important. We are given also the presence, but it feels very naturally. And in the moment that it would cost me a lot of energy and I would say, hey, Max, it so was good, thank you, and that's it. But in the moment that it's flowing naturally, it means to be. So it's this trust that whatever it will happen in your life is for you to experience, because you are the experiencer. You're not the experience. So if you nail down and narrow down the experience how it should be, you're identifying yourself with the experience, but you are the one experiencing it. So
Yeah, isn't that a very fine line between being just like completely passive and surrendering? Because do you know Michael Singer?
Yes,
Like the
I've
Surrender
heard about him.
Experiment and the Untethered
Yes.
Soul and
Yes, I never read one of his book, but okay.
yeah, he's my
go in your thoughts.
he's my guru, he's my teacher.
Yeah.
So surrender is one of my like I really try to live by surrendering to and not
Yes.
living from the mind. Like
Yes.
so this is like his whole philosophy is like that to let go of the personal ego mind and letting
Yes.
life and the flow of life and the perfection of life take over and
Yes.
synchronistically will guide you to what you need to experience in this life. So I'm
Always.
completely familiar and comfortable with that. Now, the question number one, so many people ask Michael Singer and so many people ask me because I'm so much following him is, yeah, well, I don't know if you're always like surrendering, like how, especially as a man, when you want to also bring something into the world and you want to be creative and you want to create something, how does that work? How does that work? And I'm just like, well, the one thing is coming from the mind and the other one is coming from love within. And that's unconditional, right? If I need the world to take place in a certain way because I'm lacking inside and I'm trying to fill it with stuff from the outside, I think that's not a good place to come from. But if I'm very whole within myself and I'm feeling love, and then I want to express it and I want to share it and I want to go, I don't know, to a place and work and create something, do podcast, do whatever it is, I think that's a difference. And there you get from passive to active. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Your question was like, okay, if I want to bring something to the world, now if I want to make an impact, so why do you want to make an impact? Does it come naturally from your heart? You will do it. There's no way out. There's no other way. So if you're doing the podcast, right?
Yes.
But are you forcing yourself to do it, or it's coming naturally?
No, I'm doing this because out of like a fullness, not of a lack. So I'm not lacking, and I want to fill something. I'm full in that area of my life, and I want to express it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the question that the people makes, and okay, so if you surrender to everything, so you're not gonna do anything, right?
So you lay on the couch.
So you lay on the couch, you're
waiting.
passive, and all your dreams will never come true, and you will not be someone that brings anything to anyone.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, because we need to be careful there. My ego normally will tell me that I need to have an impact, that I have to change people's life, that I have to that my name has to be somewhere.
And put a lot of effort into that.
Yes, because that's how you get recognition, and recognition is success. But if my ego is outside of it, and I really don't care if what I'm doing will have an impact in the world, I'm just doing because it's come from my heart. I'm doing because I'm feeling it. And I can't even avoid it. I will do it because it's a force that comes and expresses and goes. So it happens naturally. So I'm not forcing anything. So people are triggered about the surrendering because they think that they will become a victim of the world because you are surrendering to everything. But they are not realizing that actually is giving space to fulfill and do what your heart says and not what your ego says. Right? So you're doing it. So you're bringing us to our first podcast. That's something that we were like thinking about, that we like to share, and we like to share with people that are open-minded, because we are learning from you and you're learning from us. So it's always happened naturally. There's no hidden agenda behind. So we don't want to be famous, and you know what I mean? So it's not, and that's part of the process of surrendering. And the answer for that question is yes, your ego will have trouble if you surrender, because that's the opposite of what we have
Exactly.
been taught. It's like fight,
Yep.
plan, put in a
Hard
paper,
work.
hard work, make it happen, do it, do it. You are a doer. And if you don't do anything, nothing is gonna happen. And
Do you guys, do you have a little bit more time, or are you running out of time?
I don't even know how
I
time.
don't even know what
how much
time it
is.
is.
Talking about
but
being
we have
present.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes, because
Okay.
at 12 we
Well,
meet.
because I feel like that's a very good
No? Oh, okay. So
that's a very
Yeah,
good
yes, we have time.
segue then into the topic, I think. And Katja, you were asking about it before also, or wanted to ask me something about it. And it ties very much nicely into surrender and like doing something, being active, or being more receiving to life and to the flow of life. And that's like the masculine and the feminine polarity and energies. And I guess I always like to make it very broad, and then if needed, we can go a little bit more specific. But what do you guys? What kind of role does this polarity play in your relationship, and how do you go about nurturing both the masculine and the feminine energy in the relationship?
Very good. So I have a lot of insights, but I don't.
Yeah,
I
sure.
talked already so
No,
much.
sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because we are giving names to things now. So we are trying to understand how this reality happens here, and what our role, and how we deal with all these different tasks, different roles, different things that we need to do, we need to achieve. So yes, of course, you have the male and female forces, right? Both of them are necessary for anything to happen, because that's how life in this reality is created. If you want to give a name to being more receiving, or being more, I would say, empathy, or much more in this care, I think that's the women, they have the feminine energy has more this caring about the other, right? So providing a well-being state, because this is the mother
Yes.
side, the mother force, that is actually where the life is born, and you need this energy to nourish this new thing that is happening. And the male is much more fire, is much more transformation. We are much more
Vision and go.
and relating to tools, to material. So both are necessary to have the experience on this dimension, if we want to call like this. But here's the thing, right? It's not a matter of controlling both energies. It's a matter of flowing with it when it arises. So I have a lot of feminine energy inside of me, because of this compassion and trying to making Katja feel good, and empathy, and caring. So it's serving a purpose. And I should not be
Embarrassed?
No, not even embarrassed. Yeah, trying
Controlling
to fix that and say, oh, I need more male energy inside of me, so I can balance it out. No, because the role that I'm playing right now in this moment, if I'm not attached to any image. If I'm going through the flow, the role that I'm supposed to play is this one. So I should not try to fix it, because there's nothing wrong. And maybe in another relationship or in another situation, I will play more a male role. Or even in a situation between us, there will be situations that I will be playing the male role and Katja more the feminine, and the other way around.
And also where I noticed, because you asked about the relationship, because this was on a broad level, and now bringing it more specific, this, for example, we are very much noticing when those changes happen. For example, when we go to Brazil, Gabe gets into a male energy right away, and I'm so like, wow, what is happening? Like, who are you? You know, it's so interesting, because here he gets triggered by the environment, and also what is appreciated from his dad, and you know which image he constructed here. And for living for so long abroad, when you come back to maybe you know this also, when you go back to your hometown or even your parents' house, you go into this persona that you
past.
and I think that's where we can be aware of, wait, like, does this serve me? Does this feel good? Is this natural? Or is it something externally forced? Like, oh, I do this with the intention of being liked or perceived successful, or, you know, a doer, which is very appreciated in this also male concept that we have. So I think that's when, I wouldn't say control it, but be aware, like, how does this feel? When you are in this energy at this certain moment, because I can't generalize, oh, I feel better in feminine or in masculine. No, because there are situations that are requiring a certain state, and it comes natural, and you go with it. Or you are manipulating and controlling unconsciously.
Spending a lot of energy.
Exactly, a lot of effort. And that's what
change.
And I felt that also with your values. I think it's a very beautiful work you're doing with being more aware, like, what is really like speaking to me, what would I like to experience and I would like to feel, and what is important to me. And then at the same time, when you're aware of it, let it go completely again, because if not, you are manipulating. You will be like, okay, I'm procrastinating, this is not allowed to happen because I need to achieve, so I put my presence now into. Oh, but this is not how presence work, actually. Presence is not, it is a dance again. Of course, you can be like, hey, wait, be present, be here now, breathe. Nothing's important now from the past, from the future. I'm here right now. And if still you feel like procrastinating, maybe it's supposed to be procrastinated because there's something else you should focus your energy and presence on, So, again, and I feel it's the same with the energies. Like, where does it occur naturally? And to feel that, oh yes, you need to tap into your intuition. You need to be present.
Yeah, it's it's so beautiful, and I thank you both very much, because like this is like also big parts of this podcast. Like I'm learning, I'm growing through those conversations, and I'm growing and learning when I'm listening, not when I'm talking. So that was very, very nice. And it's funny because with one of those values, let's say the passion part, when I'm in the passion and I'm sort of like I'm going very fast within also myself. And so with a little bit of distance then, and with some mirroring, I'm always then seeing myself back, and I'm seeing this very like sort of enthusiastic little boy running around wanting to make things happen, and I don't know, coming up with different new ideas and stuff. And this is also like a part of me that I love about myself, because I can be enthusiastic and I can be passionate. It's not like, oh yeah, whatever, Like there's like an energy behind it, and I'm proud of it, and I own it. But then at the same time, this contemplative thing of like, okay, hey, let's feel into it and go with the flow. And what I will say to what you guys were so beautifully pointing out, because it is the truth, of course it needs to be a flow, and it needs to come and go. Of course, like but that the condition for that to, or the what's the name, the Voraussetzung, the
well, that's it.
Premise?
The condition, or for that to arise, so that you can flow between the masculine and the feminine and both parts, is that you have both, and both are known to you and are integrated. And this is coming from my history, is that I completely neglected my male energy, my masculine energy, because I associated everything that is connected to masculine energy is bad. That was my understanding. It's bad, it's toxic, it's
Relationship with your dad.
Exactly. That's it. So that being said, I neglected it. I never wanted to be part of my life, and therefore I was just in the feminine, and going like that in a relationship, it's not gonna work. Or it's forcing the other one, it's forcing, in that case, the woman, to go massively in her masculine to sort of like balance my caring and like stuff and being so emotional all the time, to balance that a little bit, because she had to hold space for me. But that was not because I was forcing it. It was just like because I just didn't have the masculine part integrated in my being. And now I in order for it, and you are, like I said, completely right, it is a dance and it goes from situation to situation, but I now need to, first of all, get to know my masculine energy. I have to, first of all, know it. Like I have to know, I have to have like role models also, and I have to find people that I can even talk to about it, because I simply haven't experienced it really. Because I pushed it away so much. So now I'm inviting it more into my life, and maybe I'm also, with that, I'm going a little bit too much in that direction by like maybe, planning and having a vision and executing. But this is me handling and coping with that, bringing it back a little bit into balance. It's like this dance. Feel it, yeah.
Yeah, you have to know how it feels to be masculine.
Exactly.
In the masculine energy. And of course you might go a little bit too much there.
Yeah.
That's why also, coming back to relationships, a lot of times when we have one relationship, we go to another, we go to an extreme, to another,
Yeah.
and just because we want to feel that side so much that was missing,
Yeah.
So then you go to another extreme, and then you live this, and it's so good in the beginning because it nurtures everything that wanted to be seen and was not seen before, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm tired of that now, like, and so, yeah, it's awesome that you're exploring that. There's nothing wrong in it. It's like, go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're acknowledging that. Mm-hmm. And if I would give you a tip,
please,
I would not even force to bring the male energy. Just acknowledge that you have inside, and don't block anymore, because you have it.
Yes.
So you don't even need to learn how to deal with it. You just put it's like a sun, and you put an umbrella, and then you're living in a shade. So you just need to remove that. And in order to remove that, you have to remove every concept as well, and how you should be, and even the concept that you should work more in your male energy. No, let it go, because it will flow naturally, and it's flowing naturally. Mm-hmm. You're planning more, you're putting more stuff, not that you say, now I need to work in my male energy. No, it's coming naturally, because you are open up, you're acknowledging
beautiful.
it. So yeah, just acknowledging it and let it go, and it will come.
That's so nice.
It's already there. It has been always there.
Yeah, it's always there when it's flowing perfectly when as soon as I start. It's exactly that. Yeah, because I hold on to a concept of this is therapy for me.
Please.
Yes.
Come.
No,
This is fucking it. Like because I said for years, I said, I am not going to be a man at all. No, I'm going to be a man who can cry, who can feel, who can talk about what's going on inside, who has a genuine interest in women also. I don't want to just like, like this kind of men. I just want to be,
Objectify them,
I want to be soft, and I want to be understanding and empathetic, caring. These are all things that I so much wanted that, because yes, many men in my life from early on didn't have that and lacked that, and therefore I was going in the completely other side. And like you say, Gabe, then my job now is to, and I think that is the solution to, as soon as I just stop that narrative, the masculine is gonna naturally arise within me more and more, and it's gonna be balanced, because I can cry, I can care, I am connected to my emotions, I am. Now it's just, all right, let's invite a little bit more of that vision, of that action, and of that purpose in my life, which then is naturally going to be arising. Very beautiful. Thank you. That's very nice.
And you're longing.
Yes,
You're longing
thank
for
you.
it now. It is not wrong that you didn't do it in the past, because in the past you were longing for that feminine side. And this was missing in a lot of parts of your life. And now you're longing for something else. And that's why you're inviting it, and why you're opening yourself up to it. So
What is already inside?
Yes.
That's the thing. We have everything inside. Yeah, and it's all about what we were talking about. It's the concept that we create, what we believe is the right thing, right? So if I believe that the right thing is to be an empathetic, empathetic man, emotion that is not the macho and all this stuff. So I'm already like building a concept.
Yes.
And so unconsciously, I'm leaning towards that and towards that behavior as well. So, and it costs a lot of energy, because it costs much more energy to play a role than to not play any role at all. And when I say not playing a role at all, it doesn't mean that you won't play. You will play a role in somebody else's life, but this role changes. So and not to be identified. And the moment that you identified yourself with that image of man, that's where you got confused, because you think that you are that thought. But you are not. You are the one that chooses that thought, among many other thoughts that comes. So that is our challenges as human beings. And that's why the surrendering thing is so important, and that goes along with forgiveness as well. It's so challenging for us, and needs deprogramming our mind.
Deconstruct, right?
Deconstruct. So relax. You
and
have
trust. God damn it, we have to trust. Dude, I'm so lacking. I did like a theta healing session. I don't know. Do you know theta healing?
I heard about it. Never did it.
It's really great. Honestly, it's really great, because you get out of your head, because it goes into the subconscious, and the theta waves are basically the waves that you can access, where you can access the subconscious. And so basically by going there, you get information and insights from the subconscious, and you can make them conscious. And that's the whole power of the theta healing session or work. And what was so beautiful about it is that I saw crystal clear, and I got mirrored back so crystal clear that yes, I am whole within myself, and I am just the thing which makes me struggle and suffer is the lack of trust that I have in life which is then completely basically circling back to me having sometimes a hard time to surrender because I don't trust in life and that it is having my best interest at heart, you know, because I'm thinking the whole time I have to control things in order for making things,
Oh my gosh, I'm there.
you know,
Yes.
and this is like the ultimate surrender then, because life will unfold like she's gonna unfold. And
Yes.
and
The
so-
same law applies to all relationships. The same
no
thing.
control.
No control.
No control.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
is.
We're so thankful that
What a beautiful
Yeah.
conversation. Oh my God. I'm so thankful. And you're doing an awesome
Amazing.
job. I tell you, Maxi. It's so comfortable to talk to you.
Yes.
Gabe asked me before, like, does he ask us questions or how does it work? I'm like, I don't even know. I have no idea. Let's just go into, and you're doing amazing. Like, it's
Love it.
really just flowing and wow, it's really what you're meant to be doing, because if it feels good on your side, it's what you
Yeah,
have
it
to be
feels
doing,
very
because
good.
from our side, it feels amazing how you're
I'm
doing
pretty
it.
sure it feels good by his side.
Yeah.
It comes from his soul.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It means so much, honestly,
Yeah.
because yeah, also during this time, honestly, because this is like there's a lot of things that I also need to do right now. Like I just need to take care of some stuff. It's just the way it is. And so I'm going into those kind of situations and I'm leaving a lot of my energy in those places and people and places and circumstances. And when I go out with a lot less that I went in because it's draining my energy. Those conversations, I go in and I go out with a lot more energy. So it's really nourishing me. It's giving me a lot. And that's very beautiful.
Yes.
And so it keeps me going really through this time, those conversations. So that you see that's really
The
powerful.
same with us.
Thank you.
We're
Yeah.
not separate.
So last or like towards the end, I have like one question that I wanted to ask, maybe a little bit briefer in the scope, is like if there's like something that you guys could share with people who are in a relationship, who want to be in a relationship, who just got out of a relationship, just from your experience, what would you like to share with people who are or are longing for a relationship? What do you think is like a very important message?
Well, there's one word that comes in my mind, and it's related to surrender, but it's also an act that is independent of the other side, that is forgiveness. And this is the key to free you from any pain or from any resentment, from anything that holds you back. Because in the moment that I forgive, I'm open this space for something new to happen. And if I'm ending up a relationship and I want something new to come in and something beautiful, I need to forgive. I need to come clean. If I come with the thought that I'm losing, that I have been a victim of whatever it is, this will play a role in the next relationship, either with a partner or a job or professional or neighborhood or whatever. So this, if I could, and it's something that it's as hard as surrender because it's the same thing, but it's something that comes to my mind, and you can actually active work on that, or like to
Practice it.
exercise practice.
Yeah.
And I give an example, okay? That's a personal experience. I had once a girlfriend in Bogota, which I moved on to Bogota to live there without speaking the language, without when I was in my 20s. And this person betrayed me,
Cheated on you.
cheating on me, right? And I realized that, and I discovered that, and I was, of course, like, my world like just scrambled. And because of that, I took the decision of leaving Brazil and going to Spain. And in Spain, I met Katja. So I was only able to meet Katja because during the process of being betrayed and deconstructing everything, I forgave this other person. Because in the past, I was the one that cheated. So I saw it as, okay, my karma now is done. I cheated in the past.
Yourself.
I forgive myself. Yes.
Because it was a guilt that you had inside of you.
It was a guilt that was carrying inside, and that happened with me.
Yes.
And then I was able to forgive myself.
Through that other person.
Through the other person.
Yeah.
And then I came in this subtopic because there were other struggles. Then we worked, but this is another 3 hours podcast. That clean it out. So if I can give someone a practical tip, is to forgive, but truly forgive, like as nothing never happened. Because if it wasn't because the action of this ex-girlfriend, I would never leave Bogota, or I would never leave my environment. I would never choose to go to another place completely different to meet someone that is together with me. So I'm thankful to that. In the moment, if we see in the microcosmos, we always think there is a negative thing happening. So that's bad. But actually, it plays a role in your life. So that's why we need to forgive, to clean it out.
Very beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
And that goes along as well when your partner doesn't wash her dishes or something like that.
Which happens sometimes.
I'm just kidding.
What is it for you, Katja? What would you say?
I think it's really like when I'm thinking about this, I'm longing for a relationship. Like I have friends, girlfriends that are longing for a relationship. And I think it's always, and I know it's so hurtful, but like, why are you longing for that relationship? What do you think, what you will gain with it, you know? So to really look at this, because Gabe came in my life when I was really clear of, no relationships. Like I went to Erasmus, having a semester abroad. I was like, yes, party hard, go really wild, crazy. Nobody knows me here, so yes, that's my moment. And I just met him, you know, like, this it naturally just evolves into, wow, I want to be with that person. Relationship, like then it formed something, but it was not tied to any form, right? It was not a longing that I had. It was so. I really think when you're not in because if you're longing for a relationship, you're not in a relationship right now, or you are in one that you are not wanting to be in. It's really the moment to be with yourself and to really have this relationship with yourself. And this will never stop. Even if you're in a relationship, I tell you, this work won't stop. Like you will still nourish, or you have the need to nourish this relationship with yourself in order to have a relationship with anyone, like also a romantic lover. So step into gratitude for not being in one right now, and really get to know yourself, whatever it needs, and celebrate that. Like celebrate that you have the time for yourself in this moment. Look, what are you longing for? Because I think a lot of times we make our partner responsible for not living what we want to live. Oh, I can't, I would like to travel, but I can't because he doesn't want to travel. Or I have, for example, I love to take cappuccino in cafes, but he doesn't like it so much. So it's such a like little tiny example, but it's those little things that get big in relationships, and it really gives you that feeling, I can't be who I want to be, I can't live what I want to be in this relationship. So get clear about what you like and nourish that, And this you can then also bring into the relationship, and you know about it, you know. I had to learn that if I want to have a cappuccino in a cafe, I will have it alone. And oh my God, I love it so much now to go alone with my little journal book or whatever, a book or anything, and just have my cappuccino. Without him, it doesn't have to be with him, but you need to become clear of those things. And if you're not in a relationship right now, awesome, celebrate those. Get to know yourself. Feel what you are longing for and live it. And I tell you, you will attract exactly someone who fits into that, who also shares maybe the same, or who can balance you on something that you don't have, or not so focused on, but maybe you really are curious about, and he brings that side, or she brings that side, or whoever. And so really you're not lacking something, you just are exactly where you are to be right now, and celebrate it. Look at it with gratitude and live it. And everything else will fall into place.
Agree.
If that's not a good ending, then I don't know what is. Thank you so much for that. It was so nice. I really enjoyed this. This was really nice. I appreciate you very much. Thanks so much for doing
every
this.
Second. Thank you so much for inviting us to this. It came so unexpected, and I mean, I know exactly why it came, because it was also what we needed, you know.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, perfect synchronicity, yay.
Oh yes.
I think more synchronicity than that, it would be impossible.